Here's a podcast script about travel tips. I've structured it with an introduction, some useful tips, and a conclusion. Let me know if you want any adjustments. Podcast title: The Smart Traveler's Guide. Insider tips for stress-free adventures. Host: Welcome to the Smart Traveler's Guide, where we share practical tips and tricks for your next adventure. I'm your host, your name. And today we're going to cover some of the best travel hacks that will make your trip smoother, cheaper, and more enjoyable. Whether you're a seasoned traveler or planning your very first getaway, these tips will help you navigate the world like a pro. So let's dive right in. Section 1: Pre-travel hacks. Host: Let's start with what you can do before you leave home. Preparing in advance is key to a successful trip. I know it sounds basic, but the best trips start with good preparation. So here are a few pre-travel hacks that'll save you time, money, and a lot of stress. Tip number 1. Pack smart, pack light. Pack like a minimalist. I know it's tempting to bring every possible outfit or gadget, but less is more when you're traveling. Stick to versatile clothing that you can mix and match. Rolling your clothes instead of folding them can save space. And packing cubes help keep everything organized. If you're traveling for more than a week, pack laundry detergent sheets. They're lightweight, and you can wash your clothes anywhere. Tip number 2. Digital copies of everything. Always have a digital copy of important documents. Your passport, travel insurance, hotel reservations, and flight tickets. Store them in a secure cloud service or email them to yourself. That way, if anything goes wrong, you'll have backup access even without Wi-Fi. Losing your passport is a nightmare, but having a digital copy can save you hours at an embassy. Tip number 3. Know your currency exchange options. Research the local currency of your destination before you go. Use an app like Revolut or Wise for better exchange rates and to avoid those huge fees at airport currency counters. If you prefer cash, exchange a small amount before leaving, then use ATMs at your destination for better rates. But, of course, check if your card has international withdrawal fees before you leave. Section 2. In-transit tips. Host: Now let's talk about the actual travel part. Flights, trains, and road trips. We all know that being in transit can be exhausting, but these simple tips will help make your journey smoother. Tip number 4. Stay comfortable on flights. For long flights, your carry-on essentials are key. Bring noise-canceling headphones, a neck pillow, and a refillable water bottle. Hydrate as much as you can before and during the flight. Airplane cabins are notorious for drying you out. Also, consider downloading movies, shows, or podcasts before you board to avoid relying on the in-flight entertainment, which can sometimes be disappointing. Tip number 5. Beat jet lag. One of the best ways to fight jet lag is by adjusting to your destination's time zone as soon as you board the plane. If it's nighttime in your destination, try to sleep on the flight. There are apps like Timeshifter that provide a personalized plan to minimize jet lag, which is super helpful for international travelers. Tip number 6. Make layovers work for you. Layovers don't have to be a waste of time. Many airports now offer transit tours if you have a long enough layover. So instead of waiting in the terminal, you could get a mini tour of cities like Singapore, Seoul, or Istanbul. If your layover is shorter, find a lounge or quiet area to relax. Check out apps like LoungeBuddy to see if you can access any airport lounges without needing first-class tickets. Section 3. On-the-ground tips for your destination. Host: You've arrived. Now it's time to make the most of your time at your destination. Here's how to make sure you stay safe, save money, and experience the culture authentically. Tip number 7. Use public transportation. Instead of taxis or rideshares, try using the local public transportation system. Not only is it often cheaper, but it also gives you a more authentic experience of the city. Most cities offer day or week passes that save you money if you're traveling frequently. Plus, many places offer transportation apps like Roam to Rio to help you navigate unfamiliar systems. Tip number 8. Be flexible with your itinerary. While it's great to plan, don't overdo it. Leave room in your schedule for spontaneity. Some of the best experiences come from wandering off the beaten path. Talk to locals, ask for recommendations, or join free walking tours. You might discover a hidden gem that's not in your guidebook. Tip number 9. Use travel apps for dining. When it comes to eating out, avoid tourist traps by using apps like Yelp, Zomato, or Google Maps reviews. These apps can help you find authentic, local dining experiences. You can also try Eat With, where locals host dinner parties or cooking classes. An amazing way to meet people and taste local flavors in an intimate setting. Tip number 10. Keep your valuables safe. No matter where you are, safety should always be a priority. Invest in a money belt or an anti-theft backpack to keep your valuables secure. Use a credit card with fraud protection, and avoid carrying large amounts of cash. When you're in crowded areas like markets or public transportation, stay aware of your surroundings. Section 4. Bonus Pro Tips. Host. Before we wrap up, here are a couple of bonus pro tips to level up your travel game. Pro tip number 1. Embrace travel insurance. I know it's not the most exciting thing, but travel insurance is a lifesaver if something goes wrong. Whether you lose your luggage or face a medical emergency, having insurance can save you a lot of stress and money. Companies like World Nomads or Allianz offer good plans that cover everything from cancellations to medical evacuations. Pro tip number 2. Travel during off-peak seasons. Traveling in the shoulder or off-peak seasons can save you a ton of money, and you'll avoid the large crowds. Airfare, accommodation, and attractions are generally cheaper, and you'll have a more relaxed experience. Plus, the locals tend to be more welcoming when they're not overwhelmed by tourists. Conclusion. Host. Well, that's it for today's episode of the Smart Traveler's Guide. I hope these tips will help you plan your next adventure with ease, whether you're jetting off to a faraway island or road tripping to the next state over. Remember, the key to a great trip is preparation, flexibility, and a sense of adventure. If you liked today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow travelers. You can also follow us on social media for more tips and travel inspiration. Thanks for tuning in, and happy travels. Until next time, I'm your name, and this is the Smart Traveler's Guide.